Hello everybody, this is Sona Butthard and today we have with us a very special guest, Pooja Puneeth. Pooja is India's leading life coach. She is also the author of the book Unlocking the Golden Cage, where she helps women design a life that they dream of. She is the creator of the program Divapreneur by Design, where she's on a mission to help 100,000 women turn their passion into profit. So let's welcome Pooja Puneeth.
Thank you, sweetheart, for having me. Such a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you so much for all the viewers watching. Pooja is India's leading life coach. Thank you so much, guys, for waiting. There she is. Pooja is back. So I think I gave everyone a short intro of Pooja. So now let me start with today's questions and how everyone can.
Yeah, let's get started. My only fear is if my phone rings, it may just go off again because that's what happened last time. So I hope nobody calls me for the next 1 hour because on the phone, no, that's right.
Okay. So Pooja, gratitude is one thing that you always teach all your students, the importance of gratitude. And I think from the time I have met you, I have started practicing gratitudes and it has truly transformed my life in every sphere, every angle. I think it has really benefited me and to the entire tribe who every day we regularly post our gratitude. So what is your take on gratitude and how it benefits everyone?
So honestly, actually, I discovered gratitude in 2006 when somebody had asked me to do it. And as I did it every single day, writing these 5 things, noticing what is good in my life, my life started to transform. And in about 30 days, I noticed my mindset was completely different. Nothing really had changed in my life. But who I was becoming was so unique and so much more grateful that I realized that sometimes the only thing missing is the lens through which we are looking at our life. And more, I started to encourage others to do it, and I realized they were getting similar results. So I went into studying that what is this gratitude. And basically what it is that we have different hormones in our body and different brain waves. So what's happening is that any emotion that goes deep, and if it is negative, it gets stuck in our head. And the more gratitude we do, the more we can release those negative emotions and move into positivity. Sometimes you'll get a 10 compliments in a party and one person will say, "What have you done to your hair?" And that your hair 10 compliments off. By doing gratitude, you're reversing the making your what matter deep, and what shouldn't matter, you let it go over time because you're only noticing the good, noticing the good, noticing the good. So truly, I think gratitude is one exercise if everyone can just start to follow. It's so simple and it's so profound, but its impact doesn't come so fast because of the simplicity of it. It's just doing that consistently. And I know, Sona, you're on some 500th day of doing gratitude, and I'm so proud of you for that.
Yes,
That's really, really fabulous.
Consistently, and I've seen the results as well. Yes. Okay, Pooja. Now, in this lockdown period, everyone is having these emotional outbursts. Like everyone at home, maybe some people are really enjoying it and they are making the best use of their time, whereas a lot of people are stuck. You know, everyone, we are not used to seeing our partners all the time, children at home, no one going to school. A lot of people don't have maids, and they all are like really stuck. They are telling me that how do you have this positivity even during this lockdown? I'm like, okay, I'll tell my mentor, she is the best one to answer.
I think that remaining positive right now is going to be very much like going up and down on a seesaw. So, you will have your days where you will feel high and you'll be like, you know what, actually, because of this lockdown, I'm working on my health, I'm getting to spend time with family, you're gonna have all of those good emotions one day. And you may wake up the very next day to realize you hate this life, you hate this person you're married to, you hate everything around your life. And you know what? Honoring that every day is going to be a new day with new emotions. Firstly, that in itself is a big deal to accept. So just knowing that every day is going to be unique, and don't measure yourself, don't criticize yourself for not loving life today, and don't get too excited that you are all positive while the world is failing, because you're going to have all of those emotions. There are days which are going to be amazing, there are days which are not going to be amazing. The thing is, how fast can you bounce back from a non-amazing day? What can you tell yourself so that you're not stuck in that rut? Now, if you go too many days where you've not felt good, that can lead to sadness. Sadness can lead to depression. So you want to learn to quickly get out. For some women, I've been telling them, why don't you, get ready every morning? Just the process of getting ready actually cheers us up, For some people, they can just go on a drive if the lockdown is not so heavy in your city. People in Chennai, no, not for you. But anyone outside of Maharashtra, Delhi, Chennai, these people are allowed to. So just go on a drive, just to take space, because there's no space. A lot of us are confined in homes, stepping on each other's shoes. So just, putting good music and going on your drive with yourself and having a good time and coming back just with yourself. Sometimes just spending that extra 5 minutes in the shower and doing gratitude while you're in the shower. All of these small things help. The thing is to be in charge of your own emotion. First, to watch it come, recognize is it good or bad. Once you recognize if it's good, enjoy it. If it's bad, now what are you going to do about it? Do you have 5 different ways to uplift your mood? If you don't have, sit and write them down today. Music, spending time with my children, doing my artwork, creating a collage, reading my goals. There are so many things you can do to uplift yourself. The thing is, are you willing to make that choice? Because when we are down in the dumps, we say to hell with all of this positive bullshit. And that's what we shouldn't do, because that's when we need it most, actually.
Yes.
So
it's a choice
that's basically what someone can do. The thing is, you have to.
5 different
It's a choice.
So everyone watching, I want you to write 5 different ways so that everyone can benefit from this. I want this video to be shared because Pooja is someone whose energy is so contagious that I'm sure everyone who watches this will benefit from this. Okay, Pooja, there was another person who wanted me to make a video on this whole depression thing after this actor who suicided, Sushant Singh, and the mental health, especially for the youngsters. And I again thought that I'm not the right person to speak. Why don't you share something about this, about what this whole mental thing is about and how important it is for someone?
See, I think now thanks to Deepika Padukone and all these stars and people just speaking a lot more about it, there is now a recognition that it exists. There was a time when we used to say weak people commit suicide, or, they are so selfish, and we would be very accusing of the person who's committing suicide. Now I think the world has become a lot more, hearts have opened up, and we realize that there is a real issue behind it. And people really need to go and get help from psychologists, psychiatrists, and actually just reaching out to people when you need that help, and us also to make a special effort that when we see someone dipping, if we can be there for them long enough. How many people you have helped or I have helped where they were dipping, and then we have been able to, maybe they were not suicidal, but they were on that journey, So I think it's just about putting our hearts, making our hearts grow, and truly going back to love and compassion as a core quality in this universe. What's happened is that so many of us have become busy chasing economics, making life convenient. All of those things have taken priority, and all the feminine energy, which is love, compassion, care, being there, enjoying the flowers, enjoying the sunlight, enjoying a cup of tea. We've forgotten those emotions, like as if those are time wasters. They are not time wasters. We have to learn to slow down and get out of that rat race somewhere, And of course, understanding that those who are feeling that way are genuinely going through a lot in their life, and they don't have the mettle to do this alone. They are going to need some kind of medication, some kind of outside help. So whoever is around these people, if they can be more sensitive to these people, then at least they can get help at the right time. The thing is never to blame yourself if someone around you does it, because you did your best with the limited understanding that each one of us have. But now that it has happened, the good part is that every time it shows up, more and more awareness is coming into the world. Another couple of years, I have a feeling that we are going to have full processes of people who are feeling like this, where they need to go, how they can get help. So I really hope that comes out and becomes a more obvious conversation than what it is right now. Right now, still it's still in that taboo line,
I remember you telling me this, grow your heart. And from the day you've told me, I keep reminding myself that whenever I feel low or whenever I think I need help or I need to be kind to someone, I remind myself of this phrase, grow your heart. And I've written it down on my affirmations and stuff as well. So everyone watching, please write grow your heart. This is something which Pooja teaches everyone, and I'm sure all her clients know this, all her students know this. Grow your heart, grow your ears, grow your heart is what you always say, right? Listening to the person.
Yeah, basically, I'm just saying that each one of us has two sides, and all of us have the petty side and our higher self. And naturally, we tend to go into our petty side when someone hurts us, when someone does something that they shouldn't have done, or we lose control over any situation. If at that point we can just choose our higher self and be more forgiving, allowing, understanding, what I've seen is mostly that person will raise their energy when we don't drop ours. Michelle Obama has this beautiful line in a book, when they go low, I go high. And honestly, I'll continue this by saying that when you go high, the one who went low actually comes back high again. And that's the beauty. If you're patient long enough, everyone then lands up choosing their higher self when they see you choose your higher self. And if they don't, they actually leave your life. And you have people in your life you know that you didn't really connect to, and today they don't even exist in your life any longer. Because you raised yourself, and if they were not able to raise themselves along with you, they can't exist in your life any longer.
You talk about these value systems, right, Pooja? Like, you will connect more to like-minded people. And then in this journey, somewhere the other people who once used to be close to you, who once used to be connected to you, they no longer matter. That was another powerful learning that I have learned
absolutely.
from you. How like-minded people, like attracts like. Okay, so there's
our frequencies, we're all having a frequency. And the thing is that there's now a company called Heart Maths, right? And what it says is that before we even start to judge from our mind or brain, our heart is already emitting frequencies. So when someone comes into our environment, when our heart emits a and their frequency heart emits, it matches, we start to like this person without even having spoken to this person. Then there are times when the frequencies don't match, they repel actually, and before we've even spoken to this person, you're like, I don't know, something about their vibe I'm not liking. This is all communication happening at a very subtle level before we've even started to speak to this person. So once we know that all of this exists, the ultimate is when you are able to actually respect someone who's not matching your value system. If we can reach there somewhere, somehow actually rather. So what the journey is basically, one, birds of a feather flock together. You'll land up you're going to look like everyone whom you actually already feel connected to. But can you start to respect from a distance, but respect someone who's the opposite of you? Because God has made no mistakes. He's created each one how they're supposed to be. So when we criticize a creation of God, then we are actually in some ways judging God. And we shouldn't do that. Love yourself for who you are, and then start to love others for who they are. And that's the whole journey.
Very beautifully said. Love yourself for who you are. Please write in the comments box, love yourself for who you are. Self-love is another thing. Pooja, you had said this story about this golden Buddha. This golden Buddha, to practice more of self-love. And I think that self-love is the highest thing that we need for us to have good relationships in all spheres, be it our marital relationship or with our children, when we can't love ourselves more, then there's no way. When our cup is not filled, we cannot love the other person. So can you explain that story again, that golden Buddha story?
Sure, absolutely. So somewhere in the 1957 or something, or 54, there was this temple in Thailand where they were going to move the Buddha to another monastery. And as they were trying to move it, the cranes came and everything. It was a beautiful clay Buddha at that point, and they were trying to move it. It actually cracked. And one of the monks noticed that something was shining from behind the clay. And so they all sat and used a hammer and chiseled out the Buddha, only to realize that it was made of pure gold. Long ago, they had come to know then later that there was these attacks that were going to happen on this monastery. So the monks at that point, which was hundreds and hundreds of years ago, had covered it up with clay so that it doesn't get stolen. And now they were realizing that, this gold Buddha was actually made of gold, because all of those monks had died and no one had passed on that information. The reason I narrate this story is because my coach, at one point when I was going to become a coach, I said, what if there is no golden Buddha inside of me? Like when he was telling me the story. And he was like, everyone has it, but we all cover it with clay. What we do is, over time in life, we feel like other people want us to be a certain way. So we keep putting, instead of showing our most authentic, vulnerable side, we say, no, actually, let's put makeup because I look better with makeup. No, let me use these words. No, let me wear clothes like this. No, let me pretend to be very smart and intelligent, or let me pretend to be whatever your environment actually encourages you to be. We start to put all those layers on ourselves, and somewhere along the way, we become a manifestation of what other people wanted us to be, and our light just starts to stop shining because the goldenness is now covered with clay. We are thinking the clay is the gold. The truth is, the gold is inside of all of us. So our job is not so much to become. Our job is more to uncover, or rather the unfolding of a soul. So the unfolding is where all the beauty lies. How much of those layers can you remove to become your most real self? And that real self only shows up when we fall in love with who we are. Otherwise, we are going to do everything to impress others. We'll become people pleasers, as I call it. So we have to stop doing that and move into that space of truly love ourselves enough. We become comfortable with what other people will think doesn't matter. What I myself and how I carry myself is what matters first. And then we project that. Then we allow other people to be more of themselves. So we become more of who we are. We allow other people to become more of themselves. And then this world starts to look so much better, because everyone is not walking around with a wall or a fake exterior, rather than we all being who we truly are. But if you don't love yourself enough, you can't reach there.
So true. I remember you telling me the story the first time, I think, the first session that I had with you. You told me this golden Buddha story, and I was like, okay, is there a golden Buddha inside me too? And how can I not see it? And how can Pooja see it? I always used to wonder that you were the one who helped me discover my passion. And another thing I always remember is, once I told you that I just want to learn how to be happy. I have everything in life. I have the perfect husband. I have the perfect children, a beautiful house, everything. But still there is some inner void. There is some hollowness inside me, which I don't know how to fill that gap. And that's when you told me that that void is filled by God with a higher purpose. And how happiness is everything. You may be successful in any field, in every field that you put your hand into, but if you're not happy, there is no point of this happiness. That was
absolutely. If you're not living your inspired mission, the reason you came on earth and your soul, that unfolding, if you're not living that, then it becomes very, very hard to truly, be happy. You'll have a lot of pleasure, and pleasure is from all the things we buy. Pleasure is from all the experiences we have. So we can buy those things, right? So we'll spend a lot of money on holidays. We'll spend a lot of money on bags, shoes, jewelry, clothes, all of the things we love, or for men, watches, cars, homes, whatever it is. The thing is that ultimately, if you're not living your highest purpose, if you're not living your inspired mission, those things don't last. We just keep upgrading. Okay, we got this, now next. Now what's going to be next? What's going to be next? And that becomes a race with ourselves, not even with anyone else. But the thing is, lasting happiness is only going to happen when we truly start to serve and contribute the world with the gifts and talents that we actually have. And God's put gifts and talents in each one of us. Are we able to serve the world? And in serving the world, the money we make, that money we can enjoy with all of those pleasure buying things that we want to do. But some of us are reversing this. We are first going for pleasure and then wondering where's the happiness.
So true. Happiness, I think, is one of the most important thing. And she taught me that happiness should be in the top of my goals. Whatever my goals are, happiness should be my number one goal at any point of time. So thank you, Pooja, for that.
Pleasure, my sweetheart. Absolutely. Otherwise, we will land up with empty victory. You know, there's tarot, in tarot card, there's a card called Empty Victory, which is what I discovered the first time, where this man in the tarot has 9 swords upwards, but his head is down. And you know, like he's holding all of these swords where he's won all the battles of life. But he's so lonely inside and so empty inside because he forgot to take everyone with him. And that's the beauty, I think, of women also at so many levels. We take our whole community with us. Our children have to come with us. Our husband has to be on the same page with us. You know, we don't want to be successful just for success. We want success because actually we want happiness.
Yes. Pooja, there are a lot of women, like even for me, I can say that, you know, there are these regrets that we hold on to for years. I remember telling you that I have wasted 10 years of my life. Will I be able to do something, or will I be able to get out my true potential? And that's when you explained to me the thing of seeding, of how 10 years later will I be the same if I don't start now. There has to be a start. There are a lot of people, a lot of my clients who face the same thing, who are like, so many years have just gone by now, I don't think I can do anything. Whereas they are just in their 30s or mid 30s, or that's it. So that regret thing, can you just talk about it?
Sure. I mean, one of the things, there's a famous quotation that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. You know, so regret comes from when we haven't done the things we should have, or, you know, supposed to have done them in the right time. But the thing is, if we go too much into regret, what it does is it doesn't even let us go from now to the future. At any point, we can make the decision to undo that regret. Just turn our story around. So let's say you are regretful for not having worked for 10 years. Can you start today so that 10 years later you're not living with the same regret? We can't do anything with the past. And that's exactly what you're talking about, right? So it's all about the minute you recognize a regret, what actions can you take to know for sure that in 6 months from now, in 3 months from now, in 1 year from now, if you're still going to have the same regret, then you did not use your intelligence. You just remained in your regret. The emotion of regret is just feedback that you're off track. Just get back on track and that regret will go away. For me, because I got married so young at the age of 18, my biggest regret was that I'm not educated. I'm not educated. Who will listen to me? People don't have respect for people who don't have. All of these belief systems used to live in my head. And then I went and started to educate myself. Today, I call myself the most educated person in the self-help industry in India. That claim I only made because I was so thirsty for knowledge. You know, when you're deprived of something, you actually become the best at it at some point. So God purposefully sometimes puts regrets in our life so that we can use that as negative fuel and go towards what it is that we truly want to do. So if you can use your regret for the goodness, like if you can use it as feedback and do something about it, regret will vanish. Anyone living in regret has given away its power to its past. That's what you shouldn't do. Don't give away your power to your past. Your past you can't change, but you can change your future.
You can change your future, guys. A very powerful learning again. You can change your future and you can decide to do anything. It's just the day you decide to do it, you can do it. Yes. Pooja, now that you've spoken about this whole how God places regrets, that you talk about, that when you decide to do something, God gives you challenges. He tests you can actually do it or not. And then maybe somewhere you get stuck and you're like, no, this is not for me. I'll not be able to do it. So this God challenge.
So basically, God challenge, yeah, the God challenge is very much like a parent making sure that what you're buying your child, will they even value it? Today, your child comes and asks you for a 5 rupees toy, you're going to give it very easily compared to a 50 rupees toy, compared to a 50,000 rupees video game set or something, right? If you're going to buy your child something for 50,000 rupees, aren't you going to first think twice that, are we sure we're going to use this? And are you sure you're going to keep it properly? And we're going to create space and all of that. The same is with God. Whenever God is now ready for your success and He's seeing that you're working towards getting out of your comfort zone, it needs to check that now before I make the whole journey smoother, easier, let me make sure that are they going to value it? Do they really want it, or is it just a wish, fantasy, as Dr. Demartini puts it? We have dreams and desires and we have fantasies. Now, if it's a fantasy, everybody fantasizes to be thin, rich, amazing, with a soulmate, all of us have those same desires at our soul level. But how many of us are willing to work towards it? That's when God tests. So what a lot of us do is when we get tested, we say, oh, maybe it's not for us. That's why this challenge is being put. The truth is actually the exact opposite. Any time in life you try to do something of significance, which is going to mean a lot to you, you will have a challenge that will show up. And when you overcome that challenge, assistance follows. What do I mean by assistance follows? Every time you say, no, actually, I'm not going to give in. Like I said about Michelle Obama, when it goes low, you go high. And you say, you know what, I'm going to deal with this. I'm not going to get negative. Let me see if I can find a solution. Who can I call? Who can I ask for help? And you go into solution mindset rather than giving up mindset. And at that point, God actually turns around 360 degrees and makes the whole journey possible for you. So I always give the example of every time I'm leaving for America, when I used to study back in 2000, either my child will fall down or he'll fall sick. Something would happen and I would wonder, I would feel so much guilt as a mother, how to leave a sick child and go for 1 week. By the time I would reach transit in Dubai, I remember my mother-in-law calling me and saying, he's absolutely fine. So God was just literally testing, and He's so sweet that He always turns things around when we actually stick to our, He sends help Himself. So that's the beauty. So never give up when the things get hard. Just know it's just a test. Pass that test and see how beautiful life will become.
For everyone watching, so just pass the test. Take it as a God challenge and remember that this is a challenge that God has given. Do it. Make sure you don't give up. That's the only thing. Never give up, because God will test you at some point of time, and it's up to you to want to pass the test or not. Very nicely said, Pooja. Thank you so much. And then, Pooja, a lot of people are hesitant to go to a coach for help. Maybe they don't want to show their vulnerabilities, or a lot of people, like now I'm focusing on relationships, so there are a lot of people who are hesitant to even ask for help. They're like, what will people think, or how can we tell her this? Maybe the fear of exposing themselves, or I don't know. And there are people who still don't understand the value of a coach. I want you to tell people what exactly is the role of a coach and the importance of having a coach in everyone's life, in every different spheres, as you say.
Absolutely. So the thing is that all of our intelligence is subject specific. So I heard this line from Mahatri, and I love this line, because what we may be good at, we don't need a coach in. But there are some things in our life that are not truly working. For someone, their career is not working. For someone, their relationships is not working. For someone, their health is not working. And there's someone out there who knows better than you on that topic, on that specific topic. And reaching out to those people will save you years. Is it possible to still become successful without a coach? Absolutely. But the number of years you will spend time, that's like, saying, no, I won't read the manual. I'm going to try to figure out all of this myself. Let's say there's any video game comes home or computer comes home. You say, no, I won't touch the manual. I'm going to figure it out myself. You're just going to spend 3 hours what could have been done in 15 minutes, right? So I believe that everyone needs a coach, because the coach can take you where you can't go on yourself. There's only that much distance we can cover on our own, after which we don't have the competency, sometimes the courage, sometimes the clarity, sometimes the accountability, sometimes the consistency. Something is missing to go forward. And a lot of us accept that as our life. At that point we say, maybe it was meant in my destiny. Yes, if you live at this level, it is your destiny. But if you decide to take help and actually fix it, so many of us go to the gym now. You know the difference it makes when you have a coach in the gym and when you don't have a coach.
Yes.
If you don't have a coach, there's no one to push you. And I always say we will live our 80% life only if we don't have someone to push us. Because at 80% we feel stretched enough. You put one more person behind you who's doing this from the back, you will start to push yourself a little more, and that 20% makes all the difference between ordinary and extraordinary.
Yes.
So today I think what's happening in India especially is that right now coaching is not as famous. It's exactly where gyms used to be 10 years ago. People knew about it, but it was considered that only fat people need to go to the gym or unhealthy people need to go to the gym. What's happened in the last 10 years is rather the healthier you are, the more gym type you are. Correct? Because now what's happened, healthy people go to the gym because they realize they don't want to be unhealthy to go and do something. So what's happened earlier, there used to be a taboo in coaching because people who used to go for coaching needed to have a serious problem. So you went from bad to neutral or neutral to good with coaching. Today is the first time when you can actually have a good life and go to a coach to make it great. So you don't have any problem in your marriage, but you're just bored. You've been together for 10 years, the sizzle has gone away. You just want to bring the sizzle back. So you're going from good to great. So today I have a feeling another 10 years, I can tell you everyone will have a coach in the environments that they are not succeeding in, because someone else will take you from good to great. So all of that thing will go away. Of course, to all coaches, I always say confidentiality is number one. You have to always keep the confidentiality of your client. That if you are going to reveal their secrets outside or judge them or make fun of them or just be like as if it's not a secret at all, then you're doing a big disservice to the coaching industry. Because one of the things, like a doctor, you have to keep the confidence that the client feels that it's a safe space to come and speak to you.
So true.
But yeah, I think everyone should have a coach. I have a coach. And I want, like, every coach should have a coach so that when you're selling, you're not a hypocrite. So you have me, I have Sean, Sean has Jack, I have Jack, I have Rajiv, I have Siddharth, we all have, where we're learning something subject specific. My yoga teacher is my yoga coach.
I learned this line from you.
My calligraphy teacher is my calligraphy coach.
Intelligence is subject specific. Yeah. I remember telling you that, but I don't know this, but I don't know this. So that's when you told me that intelligence is subject specific. And from that day, I have been like, okay, so what if I don't know this? I can work on it. I can learn about it. There is nothing like, okay, I can't. And today we have technology, which is the biggest boon, which is the biggest blessing, that we can learn anything, Google it, and there comes the answer. Very nicely said. Thank you, Pooja.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I just have a few more things. The importance of investing in your own learning. Like a lifelong learner.
Again, because intelligence is subject specific, our job is to keep on growing. The job of the soul is to keep on unfolding. And how does the unfolding happen? The more we keep learning in the seekings that we are having. We all have curiosity, we all have interests, we all have passions. The reason God has put these things into us is that we should explore that. I'm not going to be exploring nuclear physics or how to build a rocket, because that's not planted inside of me. For someone, that will be their talent, interest, passion, science or astronomy or the world or the universe. For me, it's all about human psychology and how human beings think and what happens inside of us. And those are my topics. And each one has to honor their own topic. My co-sister is wonderful in the kitchen. So she loves all the things about baking and recipes and, all that. Everyone has to explore what was planted inside of them and then grow it like a tree. The seed God has put, our job is to give it sunlight, our job is to give it all the different soil, water, this, that, and grow it, because God's given us only the seed. And when you have a coach, the coach actually starts to help you with that. If you don't have a coach today, you have YouTube videos. In every way, you are always continuously, if you remain a seeker, learner, you don't stagnate. Because the truth is, if you're not going up, you are going down, because there is no neutrality in the world. If you're not changing for the good, you will be landing up changing for the bad. There is no one position that you can stay in. So having said that, in every sphere, see what are you interested in and let that pull you. Michael Bernard Beckwith puts it beautifully. Pain pushes till vision pulls. Pain pushes till vision pulls. God will keep putting pain in your life till you start to work towards your inspired mission. When you start to seek and learn that you're supposed to, then pain will stop pushing you and actually your vision will start pulling you and you'll go towards that.
Very
So
good.
It's such a beautiful
Pain
sentence.
pushes till vision pulls. What is it? Yes.
So either you can have a vision or you're going to have problems. So either you can have God created problems and challenges which keeps growing you, or you can choose, okay, I want to become a martial art person. I want to learn taekwondo. I want to learn kung fu. And you'll have to build yourself, your body, your mindset and everything. Then God will stop putting challenges and he'll start to make your life easier because you made it hard. When we make our life hard, God makes it easier. When we make our life easy, God makes it harder. So better to go to the gym and choose gym than to choose hospitals later on.
True. I also totally believe in this whole exercise thing and remaining fit, eating healthy and
You are fabulous at so many levels. You are such a learner seeker. I think to me, you're like the best gift a teacher can get. You're that level student. Always learning, always seeking. I love your energy. Okay, here I'm stuck.
Thank you so much.
You are so bless
so
you,
much
my sweet
to me that
sweetheart, and a very, very, very happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Pooja is my mentor who has taught me so many things. I'm forever grateful to her for everything in my life. Okay, your advice to the people here, what would you give? The one line advice, or not one line advice, something that everyone would benefit, that they can remember, like how I remember a few things of yours: always grow your heart, intelligence is subject specific, choices and consequences. So there are few things that keep ringing in my head, solution oriented. So these are things that are always there in my mind. So what can people remember from this FB live, that they learned this, that one thing that they can always remember?
Always very hard when you pin it down to one thing, because it's never one thing. But yes, see, all of us right now are challenged. It's a time in the world right now where uncertainties become so high that it's very easy to play the blame game or the complain game. So we are either complaining or blaming, or we are in a solution mindset, which is the ability to respond. I always speak about 100% responsibility of your life, which I learned from my mentor, Jack Canfield. So taking that responsibility, yes, right now these things are not possible, but there are things that are possible. You can work on your health, you can work on your family relationships, you can work on building your business from home. You may not be able to right now, maybe, execute it, but you can at least start to plan it. What is in your control? Can you do that much at least, instead of waiting for someone to come and help you? Because that's not happening. Let me say that honestly. For most of us, we are thinking someday all the lights will be green and then we will get on through the road. That's not going to happen. Some of us are waiting for confidence. Confidence gets built one risk at a time when we take. It's not going to get built sitting on the sofa that one day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel confident. Same is with everything. Courage gets built one step at a time. Clarity comes when we do the unfolding. We take one step, then we get clear on that. We take another step. We realize, no, no, we've gone the wrong way. We turn the direction. Then we take another step. It only when we start the journey can we reroute it, tweak it, all of that. Too many of us are in waiting. And that is something that I would love to leave as a message for on this FB Live, that you know what, stop waiting, start doing. Do anything. Don't be scared of failing. Take responsibility. Stop complaining and stop blaming. You are hiding behind that. We are all being victims right now. Don't be a victim, be a manifester. The difference between a victim and a manifester is victim is going to always put the power in other people. If only economy was right, if only coronavirus had not happened, if only my children were more clean, if only, and they live with all of those thoughts. Instead, if we can say, what do I need to be in this world? What can I do for my husband that he becomes more loving? What can I do that my children get inspired to clean their room? What can I do to make sure that this coronavirus situation is an advantage for me, not a disadvantage for me? Because these people will come out of this situation stronger and smarter. There are going to be two categories of people. One who are going to spend the rest of their life saying, because of COVID, because of this economy shutting down, I have lost everything. And there are some people who are going to come out who are going to say, because of COVID, I got a new opportunity. And who's going to decide this? We. The me inside of me is going to decide which one am I, the stronger, smarter, or the completely lost.
Yes, very, very nicely put, Pooja. I think everyone should do this. Take 100% responsibility. These are the few things that I've learned from her, and she has also said. So, everyone watching, please write down these points. So, maybe the person who's watching this can benefit. Sometimes the biggest takeaways of yours can be the takeaways of other people watching as well. 100% responsibility, intelligence is subject specific, grow your heart, choices and consequences. No blaming, no complaining, no excuses. That is the whole thing about taking 100% responsibility in your own life. Pooja, I'm so grateful for you for agreeing to come on an FB Live, that too on a very special day of mine. I don't know, every year on my birthday, I get so excited. I don't know why people tell me that, Sona, it's just a birthday, it's just another day. I'm like, no, for me, it is a very special day. And I'm like, in this lockdown, what can I do? I can't celebrate it with too many people. So I was like, okay, when you had an FB Live with Sureen on your birthday, that day that idea came into me that, okay, my birthday is coming. I can ask Pooja to come on an FB Live. And you never say no. You never say no. That's the biggest gift. Golden heart is what everyone says. How can you be so giving? I mean, never a no to any of your clients. I don't remember you ever saying a no to me, ever saying a no. I mean, I must have asked you hundreds of questions and you must have replied the same thing maybe hundreds of times also. And from where do you get that attitude, that thing of just continuously giving? I mean, I really want to learn that.
No one can say no to you, so no one can say no to you. You have such a beautiful personality. You are such an amazing student. You know, when like I said before, teachers like me look for students like you. How can I say no to you? See, the thing is, when God is kind and you're flowing in abundance, then you will only keep sharing. So if I have abundance of love, touchwood in my life, so I'm able to give that love. I know how irritating I was 10 years ago to my coaches when I used to keep repeatedly asking questions and keep remaining curious. And they never looked at me and thought I was, oh, wow, interested in learning. Okay. Can I actually, the beauty is those are the clients you need to extra look after because they are serious learners. You don't want a client to just be a fan of who you are. You want a client to actually receive something that transforms their life. That's the client you want, right? And to me, you are that. So you are a gift to me as much as I am a gift to you, my darling. Thank you so much, Pooja,
for such kind words, especially on my birthday. I think this has been my best birthday so far. It cannot be better than this. It cannot be better than this. having a 1 hour, almost a 1 hour with you on my birthday is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Pooja.
Love you. And to all the people who patiently waited for us, a very, very special thank you for hanging on. It took us almost close to 10, 12 minutes to get that initial phase fixed. So thank you for staying. Thank you for sharing all your comments. Really appreciate the people who are learners
so just
here.
one thing I want to say, what I have learned from Pooja about taking 100% responsibility. So in the beginning of this live, there were some technical issues. Pooja was not able to log in, and maybe I was not able to invite her or something. So maybe I can think that, oh my God, this is going to spoil my FB live. It was supposed to at 11, and I'm a very punctual person. I'm very particular about timings, and if it gets late, it gets on my head that no, it has to be on time. So now I have to take 100% responsibility. Maybe if I had told her that, Pooja, there is an option, it has to be done on the phone. There is an option of putting the do not disturb in your settings so that no one is calling you. So this is where I take 100% responsibility instead of blaming myself or blaming anyone else. So this is what I have learned from her, the mindset shift that you need at any point of time to be solution oriented. And taking responsibility is that next time when I'm having an FB live, I will put it across clearly to the other person that these are the things you need to do. So this is what the whole thing of 100% responsibility is.
And the God challenge. This was a God challenge for both of us. God really wanted to see, do we really want to do this Facebook Live, or will we give up in 5 minutes? But we didn't give up, so it happened.
Thank you for
lovely. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you for everyone who's watching, and thank you, Sonia. Love you so much.